arts, but also the fine arts and other activities that Little Falls has for the well-rounded programs for each of the levels. Just watching the players warm up here, Little Falls having the opportunity to play at home against St. Cloud Cathedral. This should be a fun matchup. Now, Little Falls, they started off with a 4-3 loss to St. Cloud Apollo and then got handled by Becker in their only other contest, and I'm sure they're chomping at the bit trying to forget that Becker game and face a pretty good St. Cloud Cathedral team that, if memory serves me right, I think the Flyers ended up splitting with last year. Starting things off, leadoff hitter for St. Cloud Cathedral will be Abby Metalberg, who takes a little high, ball one. Defensively for the Little Falls Flyers, pitching today, Christy Masog on the rubber. And the right-hander rocks and fires after missing high. Missed a little in tight that time, 2-0 the count. So Christy Masog, the pitcher, and we see the graphics on the screen. Jasmine Miller catching behind home plate. Kaylee Mamengay at first. Allie Hoheisel at second. Chelsea Moran at short, and Megan Kirk over at first. It's a bunt play, and the throw up the first base line was not going to be in time. It's going to be a bunt single for Abby Metalberg. The throw got behind covering first base. And that might have been for the Flyers rolling in from second base that time, Allie Hoheisel, as Kirk had to come in to field that last play. But Metalberg is aboard with a bunt single. That pitch taken high, squaring up to bunt momentarily, and then pulling back Nicole Prom. So it's Little Falls and St. Cloud Cathedral. High school softball, the Flyers have a couple different coaches this year helping out. Head coaches, Deb Yelenimi-Allen and Ron Hinnenkamp, co-head coaches. Anita Larson is an assistant coach for the program. Between those three coaches, a lot of experience on the bench, and that should help out with the Little Falls Flyer softball program, a team that in recent years, it's not about how you start, but once this team gets to the playoffs, usually playing very, very solid ball. Another pitch taken high for a ball to the hitter, Nicole Prom, a second baseman in the number 2 slot for the Crusaders. The outfield for Little Falls from left to right after this delivery, pitch taken high. I believe that's ball number 3. Left field, Angela Meschke. In center field, Savea Zimmerman Cameron. And in right, Annie Corbett. That's the defenders for the Flyers that we didn't have a chance to run down moments ago. It's a good pitch taken at the knees for a strike. I want to thank all of our crew members for the help here today. And just looking at the screen, it doesn't do it justice how nice it is to be here for a ball game today. A fly ball lifted foul out of play over the third base side. Little Falls, the dugout on the third base line. St. Cloud Cathedral just to my side on the first base line here at Flyer Field. We're in the walking path between the baseball field and softball diamond. That's where I get the opportunity to watch this afternoon's game. Swing and a miss, and that'll be strike 3 and a punch out for Little Falls Flyer pitcher Christy Masog. A swinging strikeout, and Nicole Prom is retired for the first out of this afternoon's contest. 7 innings in high school baseball and softball, and we'll have a baseball game, weather permitting, coming up on Thursday. Our first Flyer baseball game of the spring here on Charter Access 181 YouTube and the Cube. Pitch taken for a ball. Now the two umpires at home plate is Tom Hyam calling the balls and strikes, and then Tony Veith is the ump at second base. This pitch taken down and in for a ball. 2-0 the count to the number 3 hitter, Megan Voigt, the right fielder for St. Cloud. And a high fly ball. This is lifted towards the fence, and it bounces out of play. And it will just be a strike, so 2-1 the count. A 2-1 count. Christy Masog for the Flyers getting the start. In game number 3, Little Falls, a lot of returning talent on this year's team. Swing and a miss. The ball, a tag out. Now a throw towards second, and the Flyers are going to get the double play. It's a strikeout and then throw them out, double play as the ball got away from the catcher momentarily, but staying with the play, Jasmine Miller picked it up, tagged the runner out at first, and then the runner from first base, that was Abby Metalberg trying to advance, ended up getting thrown out. So back-to-back strikeouts for Little Falls defensively, and they surrender the infield bunt single on the game's first at-bat, but no damage. And Little Falls will come to bat here in the home half of the first inning. No score in this contest. A sunny day, really just a very, very nice day. Temperatures got up into the low 50s here in Little Falls today. We're going to get a look at the Little Falls lineup, and defensively, St. Cloud Cathedral. Now, Kateri Fisher will be pitching for the Crusaders, but the lineup for Little Falls here today is going to be led off by Ali Hoheisel, a second baseman, Christy Masog, the pitcher, and Chelsea Moran, the shortstop, batting in the 1-2-3 spots of the order. Cleanup hitter for the Flyers, Jasmine Miller, who stuck with that last play to end the last inning. She's hoping to get an opportunity to bat with some players on base, and there's our graphic for the lineup. Following the cleanup hitter, Jasmine Miller, is Megan Kirk. Then Kaylee Mammon-Gay, Annie Corbett, Angela Meshke, and Savea Zimmerman-Cameron, the batting order for the Little Falls Flyers, who had the unconventional 3 up, 3 down in the top half of the first inning. Little Falls, in softball and baseball, more than in other sports perhaps, maybe it's because of how much time you have in between plays when you make, with 9 players out on the field, and you have to just wait for the ball to come to you. The coaching staff, whether it was Yeleni Mialan and Anita Larson and also Ron Hinnenkamp in years past, have talked about controlling the mistakes and making sure things don't snowball. That's a very, very pivotal point in high school softball, because especially this early in the season, you know, with the weather and the winter sports, you can't get out there and practice for months before we're playing these games, and it just takes repetition. So early on, a few mistakes are going to happen. When they do, you have to make sure to not allow those to snowball and cause other mistakes. Here, the first pitch taken for a strike to Ali Hoheisel. Hoheisel, a right-handed batter for the Flyers, choking up on the bat just a little bit. That was a very fast down in the zone pitches, the first couple. This time, maybe missing inside and below the knees. Fisher for the Crusaders. So the count even, a ball and a strike. Bottom of the first, no score, and getting decent contact on this to deep short, but a catch is made. That grab was made that time in short by Metalberg for the Crusaders, and Ali Hoheisel flies out for the first out in the bottom of the first inning. Little Falls hosting this Granite Ridge Conference matchup, and Masog will bat next. Christy Masog takes a pitch. Once again, a strike down at the knees. These pitches staying down in the zone from Fisher, not wanting to surrender anything. Catcher takes some instructions from the coaching staff, holding up on the swing, but a called strike. 0-2 the count to Christy Masog for the Little Falls Flyers. A limited number of games, just 2 before this one, but Masog batting above 400. A foul tip, staying alive. 2-strike hitting is always a little bit different than early in the count. You know, if a pitcher falls behind, the batter can afford to look for a certain pitch, but at 2 strikes, you got to protect the plate more, and that's where Masog finds herself down in a 0-2 count, and this is a called third strike. That time, more of a changeup delivery from the pitcher, and Masog is retired looking. Little Falls had 2 strikeouts from Christy Masog in the top half of this inning. She's victimized here in the bottom of the first. But coming up now, Chelsea Moran, the shortstop for the Flyers, and watches a pitch, and the first batter to get a hitter's count here for the Flyers is the first pitch missed outside, ball 1. So 1-0 the count, bottom of the first, no score. And this pitch taken for a strike, count even, a ball and a strike. A Tuesday afternoon, gorgeous day here for high school softball. We'll hope the sun can stay up long enough to keep it this nice. This pitch bounces about 8 inches in front of home plate, and still Moran was able to hold off. Even when they bounce in front of home plate, it's such a quick delivery. It's tough for a hitter to hold up. So you got to give the hitter credit when they don't offer at pitches like that. This time, getting underneath the ball and flaring it foul off the fence right in front of me. Count now 1 ball, 2 strikes. Chelsea Moran, the number 3 hitter, with the cleanup hitter, Jasmine Miller, on deck for the Flyers. No score, bottom of the first. This pitch taken high. A count even, 2 balls, 2 strikes. So a 2-2 count with 2 down, bottom of the first, no score. Little Falls and Cathedral. And a foul tip, staying alive, fighting off what would have been strike number 3. Moran was a little behind that, but was able to get enough of it to lift it foul and stay alive. So another 2-2 count. Here comes the delivery, and that one, that was a 3-2 count, and it was high and away, ball 4. So that was a walk on a full count. Chelsea Moran earns the walk, and that means Jasmine Miller will bat. So on the 3-2 pitch, it went high and away. After fouling a couple of 2-strike pitches, Moran gets the base on balls. And now Miller bats, and this pitch is taken for a strike, 0-1 the count. Miller catching for the Flyers and batting cleanup. Megan Kirk, the third baseman, is due up next in the Flyer order. Pitch taken low, ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. A sunny, just gorgeous afternoon for high school softball. What more can you ask for on a mid-April day, a few days shy of Easter? This pitch taken for a strike. Now the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Due up in the top half of the second inning, Julia Meyer, Andrea Decker, and Kateri Fisher, the 4, 5, 6 hitters, will bat for Cathedral. And called third strike. So Miller is down on strikes. Little Falls had 2 strikeouts defensively, but then victimized by 2 strikeouts in the bottom half of the first inning. The Flyers, no hits, no runs, 1 walk, and 1 runner left on after an inning of play. We are scoreless still here at Flyer Field. St. Cloud Cathedral and Little Falls knotted up at zeros. Again, Corey Fink just bringing you this really fantastic summer, not summer, but spring day. Feels a little bit like it, though, with the season. One of the great things about spring sports is you have that hope ahead. Now, Little Falls in recent years has not been the greatest of regular season teams, but they get better as the year progresses, and I've had the opportunity to call all their playoff games, and by then, they're in mid-season form, and it's really only a month into the year. Here we're seeing that occur right now, and it's going to be Little Falls and St. Cloud Cathedral batting in the top of the second inning. Julia Meyer, Andrea Decker, and Kateri Fisher. The Flyers did surrender that leadoff bunt single in the top of the first inning, but the runner, after the next batter struck out, the number 3 hitter struck out, and on the pitch, the ball got a little away from Miller, the catcher for the Flyers, who picked it up, had the frame of mind to tag out the runner, and then Metalberg, who was the leadoff hitter for the Crusaders, straight off of first base, tried advancing to second, and Miller made a strong throw where Hoheisel, I believe, was the one that made the take. Might have also been the shortstop, Moran. It's a moot point, though, as the tag was made for the final out of the first inning, and an unconventional 3 up, 3 down in the first inning. So St. Cloud and Little Falls, Granite Ridge Conference opponents here in this high school softball season. Baseball coming up on Thursday on the Cube, and also the YouTube channel and Charter Access 181. Excited to have a handful of games for baseball and softball on each of these avenues where you can watch and enjoy the coverage. The pitcher for the Flyers, Masog, delivers home, swinging a foul tick, but strike 1. Julia Myers, the cleanup hitter, the third baseman for St. Cloud. And this one is well hit to the outfield. Zimmerman Cameron in center, drifting towards right. Had the ball in her glove, but then couldn't squeeze it for the out. It popped out, and that is going to be a 2-bagger for Julia Meyer. Savea Zimmerman Cameron stuck with it. Did a good job moving all the way to right field, get underneath it, had that one in her glove, and then you saw it just popped out there at the last moment. Meyer heads up base running to not stop at first base and keep running it in case something like that happened. It did, and she's at second with, we'll rule a double. It was a well-struck ball and a long way to run for Zimmerman Cameron. She had a chance at it, but could not come up with the play. After a foul tip on the first pitch of this next at-bat, the designated hitter Andrea Decker, who is hitting for Taylor Rick, the catcher, another spank to center field underneath. Zimmerman Cameron this time makes the grab and throws it back to the shortstop for the Flyers, Chelsea Moran, in the infield quickly. Runner has to stay at second. Softball, sometimes it's a game of advancing the runners, and the Flyers do a good job of getting the out and keeping the runner at second base. Now a foul tip, and 0-1 the count. So Fisher batting. Gabby Hain is on deck for Cathedral. Swing and a miss, strike two. And Christy Masog, I don't know if she's going to be aiming here for it or not, but already 2 strikeouts after only facing 5 batters, and this time a slower pitch, and it's hammered towards right center. Again, Zimmerman Cameron, who's had a very busy inning in center field, tracks it down and makes another nice grab. Zimmerman Cameron is going to be batting in the number 9 slot, is flipping over the order for the Flyers, but here this inning defensively, she's making an impact. And now there are 2 outs and still the runner at second. So whether you wanted to call that an error or not, that allowed the cleanup hitter Meyer to reach second to lead off the inning. She's still at second, and now there are 2 outs. And a fly ball, this one might stay in play, giving chase at it. Oh, it falls down as both Jasmine Miller from catching and Megan Kirk at third base converge right in front of the Flyer dugout. That might have even bounced off the cage in front of the Flyer dugout. But now we've got another pitch upcoming. This is Gabby Hain with Lauren Bruggeman on deck for St. Cloud. First base is open. This one's up the middle past a diving Moran. Now Zimmerman Cameron with a strong throw home, not in time to throw to second. And then Gabby Hain gets in at second with an RBI single. So coming in to score, Julia Meyer from second after a single up the gut, just past a diving Chelsea Moran. Almost got her glove on. It was probably about 6 or 8 inches shy. When that got to the outfield, despite a strong throw from Zimmerman Cameron in center, it didn't really have a chance to get good speed. Julia Meyer from second running all the way home. Pitch taken down in the dirt. Miller a good job to scoop that one out as it bounced right in front of her glove. Make sure it doesn't get away from the catcher and give the runner at second a chance to advance for free. This pitch taken low, 2-1 the count now as I have it to Lauren Bruggeman. Claire Ramler, the center fielder and number 9 hitter on deck for Cathedral. This pitch taken high for a ball. So Little Falls, St. Cloud Cathedral Flyers had a 4-3 game that they lost in their season opener. Got beat up by Becker in their last time out. Here, lifted in the air, and it's going to bounce foul. It bounced right on the first baseline. Miller got out of the stance very quickly. That's tough to do as a catcher, too. You pop out of the stance as quick as possible and then have to run up the first baseline. She didn't get much time as that ball got barely above head height of the hitter Bruggeman. Now a 2-strike delivery. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and that will be an inning-ending strikeout. So a couple of hits for St. Cloud Cathedral and 1 runner left on. They do score the game's first run, and 1.5 innings complete. We go to the bottom of the second inning with the score now. St. Cloud Cathedral 1, Little Falls nothing. For the Flyers coming to bat here in the bottom of the second, third baseman Megan Kirk. Then the first baseman Kaylee Mamongay and right fielder Annie Corbett are due up this inning. The Flyers had one walk, a 2-out walk last inning, and Moran was stranded at first. Cathedral is now stranded 2 runners through 2 innings, and Little Falls 1 runner stranded through their first inning hitting, but here they'll come up, due up in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Cathedral running through a few of their warm-ups. Just enjoying the atmosphere here for high school softball. Spring season is so incredibly fast with the playoffs only a month away, and if you have bad weather and the holiday break for Easter, and then of course you run into all the spring activities, especially for the upperclassmen, the seniors, where they have graduation and high school proms and different nature. Spring gets very, very busy, but it feels really nice for the players to be out and playing in April. I've participated in the spring sports back in my days too, where you just want the weather to be nice enough to get out there. As great as it is to spend the time with your teammates, it's nothing compared to when you get out and actually practice and play outdoors. And we've had a pretty decent spring thus far. Leadoff hitter for the Flyers, taking low, ball 1. Megan Kirk for the Flyers, with Kaylee Mamengay on deck for Little Falls. Fisher rocks and fires, swing and a miss at the high heater. Count even, ball and a strike. So 1-1 count as I have it. And they're taken for a strike at the waist. Count even, 2 balls, 2 strikes. We're seeing what the home plate umpire is seeing behind home plate. You look out towards the pitcher. And nicely hit to shallow right, but coming in and making the grab. Despite solid contact, Megan Kirk is retired, but a nice hit ball. Softball is a game that sometimes you can hit a ball well and you're still retired. Other times you just flare one down the line and end up with an extra base hit. That was an example of a well-hit ball, but just didn't get the reward. But if you make solid contact like that every time through the order, you're going to get your hits throughout the season. And I think Little Falls fans should be happy to see Megan Kirk with that last at-bat. Now a 1-0 pitch to Mamengay after the first one inside. This rising fastball ends up about chin height as it crosses home plate. 2-0 the count, a rare hitter's count to Kaylee Mamengay, batting in the number 6 slot for Little Falls. Pitch taken for a strike, 2-1. So 2-1 count to Kaylee Mamengay. Little Falls batting 1 down, bottom of the 2nd. 1-0 St. Cloud Cathedral scored the game's only run in the top half of this inning. Now a slow roller to second base, the throw to first, and just beating Mamengay by a half a step. It was a close play, and we had to wait just for a moment. Tony Veith and Tom Hyam are the umpires for this game, and Veith was watching, and bang, bang play. It ended up being a 4-3 ground out, and Mamengay is retired. Now, this pitch taken high and away, ball 1 to Annie Corbett. So Corbett representing the tying run here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Swings underneath that offering. Count even, 1 ball, 1 strike. Angela Meschke, the left fielder, is on deck, and then Savea Zimmerman Cameron would follow if Little Falls can get a couple of batters to reach. Here a chopper up the middle and into shallow center. This will be a single for Annie Corbett. So Little Falls, their first base hit of the game. They had a walk, a 2-out walk in the first inning. Now a 2-out single by Annie Corbett right up the middle. A 2-hopper between the hole of short and second. Corners playing in a little bit against Angela Meschke. Standing back in the batter's box, swing and a miss. And Corbett takes a few steps towards second. Kind of faked running, then stayed back. 2 outs, and this pitch taken for a strike. So now an 0-2 count to Angela Meschke. With 2 outs, you'd expect Corbett to just be off as soon as there's contact. Here it is. It's off the pitcher. Then the shortstop fields it. The throw to first, and it will be the out. So Meshke is retired on a 1-6-3 putout. And once again, Little Falls with one base runner. They had to hit that inning, but strand the runner at first. Second straight inning where Little Falls had a 2-out runner aboard. In the first inning, it was a 2-out walk. That inning, a 2-out single by Annie Corbett. But Little Falls strands the runner at first base, and we'll go to the top of the third with the score. St. Cloud Cathedral 1 and Little Falls nothing. The game's only run was scored in the second inning when the Crusaders led off with a 2-base hit. Julia Meyer hit one to fairly deep right center. Zimmerman Cameron in center field had a long way to go, got her glove on it, but it popped out of her glove. Now, because it was such a long way to run, unofficially I'll count it as a 2-base double to lead off the inning. Whether it was an error in center or a double, later in the inning after a couple of flyouts to center field where Zimmerman Cameron did hold on, one going to her right and one coming in, then a 2-out single, scored the runner from second, and that's the game's only run thus far. So 1-0 heading to the top of the third inning. And just to remind everybody, if you haven't followed along with too many baseball or softball games in the spring, and it's been a full calendar year since you have, in the high school level we play 7 innings. Of course, extra innings if necessary, but 7 innings is a regular season matchup and postseason. Little Falls and St. Cloud Cathedral, Granite Ridge Conference opponents. The Flyers, the last couple years, have been a team built for the postseason as they have improved game after game and time out there. And I give a lot of credit to that of the girls getting out there and practicing every day, making the fundamental plays by the end of the year. A lot of focus, repetition, but also the coaching staff. Little Falls has put together a very solid coaching staff. Deb Yelanimi-Allen, Anita Larson, Ron Hinnenkamp. Yelanimi-Allen and Hinnenkamp are the 2 co-head coaches for Little Falls this year. Leading things off here as we go to the top of the third inning is Claire Ramler. Ramler is the number 9 hitter in the order. And then Abby Metalberg would lead off, or would follow. This pitch taken outside, count even, 1 ball, 1 strike. Flyer Media Productions contest here today. Christy Masog rocks and fires. A pitch taken for a strike. A 1-2 count. To Ramler at the plate, Metalberg and Prom do up this inning. And this pitch taken for a strike, and that's strike 3. And punch out number 4 here with just 1 out in the bottom or the top half of the third inning. It's the first strikeout looking for a St. Cloud hitter. The first 3 victims were retired swinging. And now Metalberg lifts one in the air, and this one is going to be foul. Hit towards our camera crew. Abby Metalberg led the game off with a bunt single and then ended up getting thrown out after a strike him out, throw him out, inning-ending double play. A couple batters later. His pitch taken high. 1-1 the count to Abby Metalberg. Nicole Prom on deck. Metalberg is the shortstop. And this pitch taken for a strike. It's now a 2-strike count. That would probably take away any bunt attempt. However, the speedy players like Metalberg can always have those chop singles. This pitch taken low. It's not a bunt where if it goes foul, it's not a strikeout. But if you have that chop hit for contact and then run it out down the line, it's in effect a swinging bunt. This pitch taken high and away. So what was a 1-2 count now is a full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes with 1 down, top of the third inning. Masog trying not to let the hitter get away from her. This one is lifted foul towards the backstop, out of play. There's a lot of danger in giving Meadowburg a decent pitch to hit, top of the order hitter, but also with the speed of Meadowburg, which we saw in the first inning, the last thing Little Falls wants to do is surrender the free pass. Taken, called third strike, and that is another strikeout. And Mesog is really into a groove here today. Yes, there were a couple of base runners here through the first few innings, but Little Falls getting a solid pitching performance from Christy Mesog. If the bats can come alive, this defensive effort from Little Falls, led by Mesog pitching, and then some other plays turned in. The opportunities haven't been as many because of these strikeouts. 5 strikeouts thus far. First pitch was a ball. Now this one taken outside. Ball 2. Nicole Prom struck out swinging her first time up. We saw Miller behind home plate make a nice play earlier. Zimmerman Cameron was busy, especially in the second inning. And now this one is hit towards center field. It's going to drop in front of Zimmerman Cameron at the edge of the grass. And that is a single right up the middle. A 2-out single. Now the only 1, 2, 3 inning we've seen here for either team, as we're in the top of the third, came when the Crusaders had a bunt single and then a strike them out, throw them out, double play a little later in the inning. A grounder to third, a nice play at third, the throw over to first in time. And that time, Megan Voigt is retired on a 5-3 ground out. It was a one-hopper to third base, and Megan Kirk picked it and then threw across the diamond to Callie Mamengay, holding the foot on the bag and plenty of time, and the defensive play turned in. Once again, Little Falls making the plays that are there. And early in April, you almost expect to see a few errors from both teams. We have not seen that. This game has been a relatively clean game. Really, the only misplayed ball was on a long run from Zimmerman Cameron in center field when she got to it with her speed, but had the ball pop out, that turned into a 2-bagger, and a little later in the inning came around to score on an RBI single. But with the exception of that one lone mistake, if you can call it that, this has been a very clean game played by both teams. And just a nice, fun afternoon of high school softball today on the Cube, a YouTube channel, and Charter Access 181, providing this Little Falls Flyers softball game on Flyer Media Productions. Little Falls looking for their first victory of the season, the young season. 0-2, had a 1-run loss in the season opener to St. Cloud Apollo, but then lost to Becker, who's shaping up to be a very, very good team too. The Bulldogs are. Little Falls, the last several years, they seem to escape out of that first round of the one-and-done elimination playoffs. In the last several years, they've gotten a few more wins too. Subsection final appearance last year for Little Falls, and just see a team that, despite wins and losses in the regular season, by the time May comes around, you know they're going to be playing a solid brand of softball. But here today, we're seeing both teams play pretty well on this Tuesday afternoon. Now, Little Falls, in the bottom half of the third inning, will bat Zimmerman Cameron, Hoheisel, and Mesog. Squaring up to bunt and then pulling back. Taking outside, I believe that was ball 1, is Savea Zimmerman Cameron, the center fielder. Squared up to bunt, and Kateri Fisher is pitching for St. Cloud. This time a mean cut taken and mistimed. Now the 1-1 count as I have it. On deck, the top of the order for Little Falls, and Zimmerman Cameron gets a piece of it but fouls over the Crusader dugout. 1 ball, 2 strikes, bottom of the third inning. The score, as we see on the screen here, Flyer Media Productions 1-0, St. Cloud Cathedral. And this pitch taken outside, close pitch. Good eye at the plate for Zimmerman Cameron. The catcher that time, Taylor Rick, tried framing it and bringing it back across home plate. That gamesmanship. Swing and a miss, strike 3. But Zimmerman Cameron goes down. And now Little Falls will send to the plate the second time through the order, Allie Hoheisel. We'll wonder if we'll see a little better success the second time through the order for either team. Little Falls getting to the top of the order here. Hoheisel a little out in front of that pitch. She flew out to the shortstop her first time up at the edge of the grass. This pitch taken inside, count even at a ball and a strike. So Christy Masog will bat next for the Flyers. They can get a base runner or two. Chelsea Moran and Jasmine Miller would follow in the order. A squibber off the bottom of the bat, swinging right over the top of the softball and squibbing it foul. Now the count 1 ball, 2 strikes to Christy Masog for the Flyers. Or Allie Hoheisel, excuse me, with Masog on deck. This is Hoheisel at the plate. Here she's a little out in front, pulls it down the third baseline. The throw a little high, but handled at first, and it's a 5-3 ground out, and Hoheisel is retired. So a 5-3 ground out with 2 strikes. You could tell Hoheisel trying to protect the plate, started her swing, had to slow it up, and was out in front, but got contact with the ball, pulled it down the third baseline, but the third baseman for the Crusaders made the defensive play and the throw across the diamond. And now Christy Masog will bat with 2 outs in the bottom of the third inning. There's our order for the Flyers upcoming with Chelsea Moran on deck and Jasmine Miller, the cleanup hitter that would follow. Swing and a foul tip. Little Falls St. Cloud Cathedral, not quite to the midway point of this afternoon evening's matchup. Sun sticking around till around 8 o'clock at this time of year. Spring evening. Fisher rocks and fires in this one. Another foul ball down the first baseline. Between Masog and Hoheisel, even Zimmerman Cameron, we've seen about 3 or 4 of those squibbers right down the first baseline. Little Falls on this time through the order coming closer to getting the timing of Fisher. That could bode well. This time, a change of speeds. Pitch taken high for a ball. Masog awaits this 2-strike delivery. And that's a called third strike, and that'll end the inning. It's the first 1-2-3 inning for St. Cloud Cathedral defensively. And Little Falls, they had that unconventional 3-up, 3-down inning to start the contest after a bunt single and then a strikeout, another strikeout, throw them out, strike them out, throw them out, double play ended the first inning. But that was a true 3-up, 3-down inning as first Zimmerman Cameron struck out swinging. Hoheisel grounded out to the third baseman, and then Masog struck out looking. Now we're going to the 4, 5, 6 hitters due up this inning for Cathedral, and there they are: Julia Meyer, Andrea Decker, and Kateri Fisher. Gabby Hain, Lauren Bruggeman, and Claire Ramler would follow before they flip the order back for what would be the third time through. We played 3 innings. We go to the top of the 4th in a low-scoring contest. 1-0. St. Cloud Cathedral and Little Falls. What's been a clean game thus far this afternoon. Both pitchers dialed in. Another thing we haven't had to talk about, because both pitchers, really, got to give credit to Fisher for the Crusaders and certainly Masog for Little Falls, has been the lack of free rides onto the base paths. It's not just the errors that aren't occurring defensively, but we're getting strikeouts and yet to see a walk surrendered by Masog for the Flyers. Fisher has surrendered the 1 walk, but only 1 single then. So this has been a good defensive game here for both teams, and high school softball moving quickly along on this Tuesday evening. Little Falls, I'm sure they'll have a couple of double headers throughout the course of their season, but this is just a true 1-game evening here. Flyer Media Productions. And the cleanup hitter scored the game's only run, Julia Meyer, at the plate. She led off with a hit to center field in the 2nd inning. Zimmerman Cameron tracked it towards right center, had it bounce out of her glove, and Meyer was at second base. after Little Falls did a good job and a couple of flyouts to center, had a chance to strand the runner at second. A 2-out RBI single was the game's only run-producing hit. This pitch taken down and in, so the count even. Ball and a strike to Julia Meyer, the third baseman, with Andrea Decker, the designated hitter, batting for Taylor Rick, on deck. This one is hit well to center field. Zimmerman Cameron came in and makes the grab. She had to go down on two knees to make that grab and absolutely rob Meyer of a line drive hit. Blistered up the middle. And boy, if that one's not hit right at Zimmerman Cameron in center field, that could be extra bases, but it's really a line out to center. And now a fly ball to deep short, and the catch is made by Chelsea Moran. So Andrea Decker on the first pitch of the at-bat flies out to the shortstop, and that means Kateri Fisher will bat next for St. Cloud Cathedral. So quickly, 2 up, 2 down on a nice grab in center field by Zimmerman Cameron, getting the jump on the ball and coming in, making the grab at her knees that we saw a few moments ago. And then on the very next pitch, a high fly ball to the edge of the infield, and the shortstop, Moran, made the grab for Little Falls. That last pitch was taken low and away for a ball. So 1-0 count to Fisher with Gabby Hain on deck. After Little Falls went down 1-2-3 in the last half inning, they're trying to turn in a defensive 1-2-3 inning right here. Swing, foul tip. 2-1 the count, I believe, right now to Fisher. And this pitch taken for a ball. Gabby Hain on deck. Missed the count from the umpire, but I think it might be 3-1. Here, a fly ball, and this is going to be foul, and it actually gets into the baseball field. The baseball, softball diamonds are side by side here in Little Falls. There'll probably be an occasion or two where they'll each have home games throughout the course of the year. It's always a fun opportunity. Here, another fly ball foul over the Cathedral dugout on the first base side. And a 2-strike pitch upcoming. I think it's a full count to Kateri Fisher. Masog has the 5 strikeouts. No walks here today. You have to get one of the softballs back into the diamond so we can resume play. A payoff pitch upcoming with 2 outs, top of the 4th. And that one's ball 4. A pitch that got away, and Fisher is aboard. So the first walk issued of the game. Little Falls has an opportunity to strand that runner, as there is already 2 outs here this inning. And Gabby Hain, the number 7 hitter, batting. A chopper up the middle, but it's going to be fielded cleanly by the shortstop Moran for the Flyers, who just has to tap her left foot on the bag as she picks up the roller. And that's a fielder's choice. A ground out to the shortstop. And that ends the top half of the 4th inning. So barring extra innings, we would be at the midway point of this one in a 7-inning contest. We're going to the bottom half of the 4th inning. The score, St. Cloud Cathedral 1, Little Falls nothing. My name's Corey Fink. I want to invite you again. Now coming up on Thursday, we'll have some high school baseball. Little Falls, 5 o'clock first pitch on Thursday, hosting a matchup, and that will be just like this evening's contest. A couple of opportunities for you to watch on the Charter Access 181, YouTube, and the Cube. Flyer Media Productions bringing us this broadcast. And here's the May events coming up soon. Looking at Little Falls High School Prom Grand March on April 29th. Softball next Monday. Baseball, Little Falls and Foley this week. Or it's actually Little Falls and Sartell on Thursday, and then next week they have Foley. So those are some of the upcoming broadcasts for Flyer Media Productions. I'm looking forward to helping out with a handful of these, and also the Grand March when we get to the high school prom too. Little Falls here in this one, though, thinking about this spring sports game, see if they can come back from just a slimmest of leads for St. Cloud Cathedral, 1-0. I happen to be a Minnesota Twins fan, too. The Twins did lose this afternoon, a 2-1 ball game on the road in Detroit. Twins had a run in the top of the ninth inning, but stranded the tying run at second, the go-ahead run at first. Little Falls seeing if they can fare a little better as they're trying to complete a comeback. It's just 1-0 though. Bottom of the fourth inning, and the 3-4-5 hitters batting the second time through the order. A high fly ball, and this one might stay in play. The catcher can't make the play though, and Chelsea Moran will have another opportunity here. That time, Taylor Rick popped out of the stance and just couldn't see it. The sun pretty high in the air right now, too. Overhead might have been in the eyes of the catcher as she was trying to track that one down. By the time she saw it, didn't have a play on it. Moran gets another opportunity here. And this pitch taken inside for a ball. So Chelsea Moran, she reached on a walk her first time up with 2 outs in the first inning. Jasmine Miller on deck. And that pitch taken for a strike, so now a 2-strike count. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Chelsea Moran. Jasmine Miller on deck for Little Falls. Flyers trying to get their first base runner with less than 2 outs. A high fly ball, shallow left center, and left fielder had that one start to roll out of the glove, but made the grab. Lauren Bruggeman held on, and Moran with a high fly out to left. So Little Falls with a couple of base runners through the first 3 innings, but each of those in the first and second inning came with 2 outs. Now with 1 out, Jasmine Miller, who struck out looking her first time up, takes a strike on the inner half of the plate. 0-1 the count. One swing of the bat and we could be tied up here. 1-0 St. Cloud Cathedral. This pitch taken low and away, ball 1. 1-1 the count. Jasmine Miller and then Megan Kirk on deck for the Flyers. Here comes this delivery, and it's a foul tip off the backdrop. So Jasmine Miller is batting. She scored one of the runs for Little Falls. They've got 5 runs in 2 games. And she's got one of those. This pitch taken low. Good eye with 2 strikes. Count even. 2 balls, 2 strikes. So Miller on this 2-2 pitch down 1-0. A chopper. It's a one-hopper. Fielded low on the ground, and the third baseman with the throw across the diamond in time. And a 5-3 ground out. And that will retire Miller, bringing up Megan Kirk for Little Falls. Kirk came into today batting .400. A couple of hits on only officially 6 plate appearances, but 5 at-bats because of the walk. She's reached most plate appearances for Little Falls, an on-base percentage of .600. She did fly out to right earlier this contest to start the top of the second inning. Here takes a pitch for a strike. The 0-1 pitch upcoming. This one gets away from the catcher, but nobody on. So the count will even at a ball and a strike. Bottom of the 4th inning, St. Cloud Cathedral scored the game's only run in the top of the 2nd. 7 innings in high school softball. A swing over the top of that last pitch, and Kirk missed. Now the count 1 ball, 2 strikes. Callie Mamengay on deck. Should Kirk be able to reach? And it's a chopper off the third baseman's glove. And this is going to be ruled a single for Megan Kirk. Now the third baseman we saw have an opportunity at that, but a sharply hit ground ball down the third baseline went off the glove of Julia Meyer and into shallow left field. Kirk has to stay at first base, but she's aboard with 2 outs, and now Mamengay at the plate with a runner at first. So once again, 2 outs before the Flyers get a base runner aboard, but let's see if they can get a rally going. Here it's a chopper to third base. The throw across the diamond, little low, but handled. And another 5-3 ground out, and that will end the Flyer half of the 4th inning. So in that inning, there was 1 hit, no walks, no runs, 1 runner left on base. And the score as we head to the top of the 5th inning, St. Cloud Cathedral 1, Little Falls nothing. Corey Fink with the play-by-play coverage, but a shout out to our camera guys helping out here today. Done an excellent job bringing you this high school softball game, and we look forward to bringing you more of those broadcasts throughout the course of the spring season. We saw that graphic just before the start of that last inning. Now, the batting order popping up on our screens for St. Cloud Cathedral due up this inning. It's the 8-9-1 hitters. So Lauren Bruggeman, Claire Ramler, and then Abby Metalberg are due up this inning. Nicole Prom, Megan Voigt, and Julia Meyer would follow for St. Cloud Cathedral. Bruggeman, she struck out swinging her first time up, and Ramler struck out looking. And then Metalberg struck out looking, part of 3 straight strikeouts at one time in this contest for Christy Masog. Her last strikeout came with 1 out in the top of the 3rd inning. Flyer Media Productions. Here's our upcoming broadcast again. The Thursday game is Little Falls and Sartell. And then baseball next week on the 18th. Softball we'll have again on that Monday the 24th. Grand March, and then the May events, well, we'll share that with you once they get finalized here, but those are some of the upcoming broadcasts that you can look forward to on Flyer Media Productions. So at the plate for St. Cloud Cathedral, still in the 2nd time through the order, the number 8 hitter, Lauren Bruggeman. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Going to the top half of the 5th inning, if you're in the 2nd time through the order, defensively you're having a pretty sound game. That has been the case for both teams. Here, a ball hit well to right center. This is going to get to the gap. Zimmerman Gamron fields it off the fence, and it's going to be a stand-up double leading off the top of the 5th inning. That one was just hit towards right center, carried out that way. If you're wondering, the wind is blowing, swirling at times, but it's coming from center field towards first base. So it's coming in a little bit and pushing the ball towards right field. Now squaring up to a bunt, and then a pitch taken. The throw to third gets away, but it's going to be a stolen base. Bruggeman is all the way to third base, so it started with a double and then advancing on a pitch that was down in the dirt. And Miller smothered it. She made the play, the only play she could, by picking up, trying to throw to third, and now offering the bunt, taking it for a strike. Now there are 2 strikes, and this is a big at-bat here with 2 strikes to Claire Ramler with a runner at third, and it's a flare fielded by the shortstop Moran at the knees, and that's going to hold the runner at third base. So Ramler with a line out to short, and Little Falls is 1 step closer to stranding that runner at third base. But here's the tough part. Metalberg representing the top of the order now at the plate. Metalberg had a bunt single and then struck out looking, 1 for 2 in this ball game. Runner at third is Bruggeman. Pitch taken down. Ball 2. 2-0 the count to Metalberg. Little Falls playing the infield, at least on the corners, a little in, against a hitter who's shown she will bunt. She reached on a bunt the first time, and now she takes a pitch low for a ball, and I have a 3-0 count now with a runner at third base. So obviously you want to keep that runner from scoring, but have to be cautious about putting the speed of Metalberg on with a free path, and it's going to be a walk to Metalberg. So just runners at the corners here with 1 out. Metalberg drew the walk, a 1-out walk. Now squaring up to bunt. A strike and a throw to third base. They might have got her. And they're going, I'm waiting for the call. Oh, no call. They're going to say she was safe. That was a really, really nice throw from Miller at home plate to third base. And I don't know. You know, there's only 2 umpires here. They're doing the best they can. And with runners on the corners, it's tough to be there. But that was a close play. And now attempting to bunt. And that one came riding up towards the head. And she's going to be on base. Might have hit the hands on the bunt attempt. Or could have even been off the helmet. The player seems to be okay. Nicole Prom was the hitter, and she's going to be over at first base. Now the bases are loaded, and Megan Voigt will bat. So in a 1-0 ball game, top of the 5th, this is a pivotal at-bat for both teams. A force at any base. And a chopper back to the pitcher. The throw home, they get the out there, but the bases are still loaded. That was a 1-2 ground out, fielder's choice. And Bruggeman, who led the inning off with a double, is forced out at home. However, advancing on the play, all the runners and the bases remain loaded with now 2 outs to Julia Meyer, who hit one to center field that popped out of Cameron's glove, and then Cameron made a nice catch down at the knees the last time. Here a 1-0 count with the bases loaded to the cleanup hitter for Cathedral, Julia Meyer. Swing and a hit up the middle. This one's going to land for a hit. Cameron, strong throw, cut off, and runners will hold at first and second, but a 2 RBI single as Metalberg came in from third, Prom came in from second. Voigt holds up at first, and Meyer is aboard with a 2 RBI single. Now it's 3-0, and Little Falls facing Andrea Decker here with runners still at first and second. And it's a slow roller to third. Tough play. Throw across the diamond in time for the final out. A 5-3 ground out, and Andrea Decker is retired for the final out. But not before St. Cloud Cathedral extends their lead from 1 to now 3. As we go to the bottom of the 5th inning, the score, St. Cloud Cathedral 3, Little Falls nothing. Just to recap that inning, it started with a double by the number 8 hitter, Lauren Bruggeman, and a line out to the shortstop, Claire Ramler. Abby Metalberg reached on a walk. Nicole Prom was hit by a pitch. Megan Voigt reached on a grounder to the pitcher. Masog threw it home for the force out to stop the run there, but then Julia Meyer, the cleanup hitter, a 2 RBI single, and now the score is St. Cloud Cathedral 3, Little Falls nothing, going to the bottom of the 5th inning. It's the 7, 8, 9 hitters due up this inning. Annie Corbett, Angela Meschke, and Savea Zimmerman-Cameron due up this inning for the Flyers. The first time around, Corbett reached on a single, and Meschke grounded out. It was a grounder up the middle that went off the pitcher's glove, fielded by the shortstop, and the throw over to first. And then Zimmerman-Cameron struck out. So that's how these next 3 hitters did for Little Falls the first time through the order. These are the last of the hitters through the second time in the order. St. Cloud Cathedral, that last inning, batted 7 batters. Far and away the most explosive offensive inning for either team. They mustered only 2 runs, so damage was limited by the Flyer defense. But 2 runs in a game like this could loom large here as we're in the second half of the game, going to the bottom of the 5th with the score 3-0. So Little Falls, St. Cloud Cathedral, and batting, Annie Corbett will lead off this inning. She had a single. Good hit right up the middle her last time up. That'll raise her average close to 400 on the season this young year. First pitch, foul tip, strike one. One thing that Little Falls offensively has to try and do is get a base runner aboard earlier in the inning to allow them to play the small ball, but 3 times they've had a base runner, but all 3 times it's been with 2 outs. Here a foul tip and strike 2. Little Falls see if they can build a bit of a, here a foul tip on a swinging strike 3 that will require the throw to first, and Corbett is retired. So the throw out from the catcher home. And now batting for Little Falls. Well, this might be Annie Corbett here. And that's strike 3, so it was just a foul tip. That's what they ruled because it fell down on the ground. It wasn't a strikeout, but here this time, unfortunately, Corbett does strike out swinging, so it is 1 down. Pitch taken for a ball, 1-0 the count. Of course, if you get the foul tip and catcher holds on, it would have been strike 3, but she had another opportunity. Here a grounder down the first baseline, and the throw into the infield, not in time, and that'll be a single for Angela Meschke. And that was a seeing eye single right past the diving first baseman and second baseman to shallow right, and Angela Meschke is aboard. That is the first base runner for Little Falls with less than 2 outs. We're going to have a courtesy runner for Meschke. That is running for Little Falls. See here in a second who that is momentarily. Well, Little Falls, meanwhile, hitting will be Savea Zimmerman-Cameron. The courtesy runner at first. Little Falls down by 3 after 2 runs were scored in the top of the 5th inning by Cathedral, squaring up to bunt and then taking that last pitch or offering and fouling it away, strike 1 to Zimmerman-Cameron. So Little Falls, St. Cloud Cathedral. This pitch taken for a strike, now 0-2 the count to Zimmerman-Cameron. The top of the order is on deck for Little Falls, so should Zimmerman-Cameron be able to reach, they could have the top of the order batting representing the game's tying run here. We're only in the 5th. Nice cut. Foul tip, though. Another 2-strike pitch upcoming. Savea Zimmerman-Cameron batting. 2 strikes. Fisher and Masog, the 2 pitchers that have gone the distance so far. Here a foul tip. Goes against the backstop. Staying alive, getting a piece of it, Zimmerman-Cameron. The sunshine on this Tuesday afternoon. We've got high school baseball coming up on Charter Access 181, the Cube, and also the YouTube channel on Thursday. Here, fighting another pitch off, Savea Zimmerman-Cameron. Now, I don't know how this at-bat is going to end, but this is one of those at-bats where Zimmerman-Cameron's had to fight off about 3 or 4 different pitches. We'll see if she can get a pitch she can do something with here. It's looped to line to shallow short, and then the throw to first base in time, and Zimmerman-Cameron lines into a double play. A lazy liner to the shortstop, and then the throw to first base. And that's the 6-3 double play. Really nothing the courtesy runner could do there at first base, trying to get a decent lead. And that was just a squibber off the end of the bat. Zimmerman-Cameron fighting to stay with that at bat as long as she could. But in the end, a lazy liner that turns into the 6-3 double play. And we go to the top of the 6th inning. Just a couple more innings left for Little Falls to crack into this lead for St. Cloud Cathedral, which went from 1-3 in that last inning. Not an insurmountable lead by any stretch of the imagination. Little Falls defensively playing well. The Flyers 0-2 on the season. St. Cloud Cathedral 2-1. Little Falls They were handled by Becker their last time out, but the first game, a 4-3 decision against St. Cloud Apollo that could have easily gone either way. Here today, I'm just seeing a solid game. Little Falls are the base runners with 2 outs instead of leading off the innings. Really not making any less plays than St. Cloud Cathedral. This has been a good contest. 52 degrees at first pitch, and temperatures really still around that here. Partly sunny skies on this Tuesday afternoon. Spring sports, such a fast season with the playoffs. We were talking about that right at the start of our broadcast, only a month away. Christy Masog has done a good job pitching, surrendering just the 2 walks with the 5 strikeouts. First pitch of this inning taken for a ball, and there's the St. Cloud Cathedral order that was on our screen moments ago. This is going to be Kateri Fisher, Gabby Hain, and Lauren Bruggeman that are due up this inning in the top of the 6th for St. Cloud. Swing and a miss, strike 1, 1-1 the count. Bruggeman finding a focal point on the bat. High school softball, much like baseball, is all about the focal points and getting comfortable. See the players do almost the exact same action at the practice swings in between pitches. 2-1. This offering misses outside, 3-1 the count. A 3-1 pitch to Kateri Fisher leading off the top half of the 6th inning. St. Cloud has done a better job of getting their leadoff hitter aboard. This is a high fly ball, and the catch is made, is it? Yes, it is. It was a delayed call there, but in right field, a nice grab was made by Annie Corbett. And she ended up down on her side, but made that grab, robbing Fisher of a hit on a 3-1 count. A fly out to right, and there's 1 down in the top of the 6th. Now a grounder to the second baseman. Throw over to first in time. And that play from Allie Hoheisel over to Mammon Gay at first. Little 4-3 put out, and Gabby Hain is retired on the first pitch. That's the second time this game that Hain was retired on the first pitch of an at-bat. Here, a liner back to the pitcher. Masog had a little trouble with it, dropped it, but stuck with it and threw it over to first. And the 1-3 put out, and Bruggeman, who led off last inning with a double, this time lines out to the pitcher, and it is a 1-2-3, 3 up, 3 down, quiet top half of the 6th inning. Well, if you believe in momentum, that should supply Little Falls a bit of it here going to the bottom of the 6th inning. And if Little Falls is to come up with a comeback here today, 7th inning, they'll still have the opportunity for, but this is an inning that things are squaring up where they really could have a great opportunity here. The top of their order is batting. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. They're down by 3-0. Allie Hoheisel, Christy Masog, Chelsea Moran, then Jasmine Miller, Megan Kirk, and Callie Mammongay. So you've got the part of your order batting, facing Fisher. This is the inning you've got to do a little damage here for Little Falls. Theoretically, you still got the 7th inning up in front of you, but this is the opportunity for Little Falls in this home Granite Ridge Conference matchup between St. Cloud Cathedral and Little Falls. Win, lose, or draw, though, both teams are playing well. Despite this being an early season matchup, both are playing a sound ball game. And I could easily believe this would be May-type softball because we're seeing the plays turned in by both teams, especially defensively. Now a foul tip off the bat of Allie Hoheisel, facing Fisher for the 3rd time. Now Hoheisel flew out to the shortstop, then grounded out to the 3rd baseman her last time up. An 0-1 pitch, and it's a chopper down the first baseline. Fielded cleanly, step on the bag in time, and Hoheisel with a ground out to first. So that's the first out of the bottom half of the 6th inning. The score, St. Cloud Cathedral 3, Little Falls nothing. Christy Masog will bat next, and Chelsea Moran on deck. Pitch taken low for a ball. So 1-0 count to Christy Masog. Flyers need base runners first. This pitch taken outside for a ball. The other thing to keep in mind, Little Falls batting in the home half of the inning. By the time they come up in the 7th inning, they'll know exactly what they need. This pitch taken for a ball. 2-0 the count to Christy Masog. And in this case, a single and also a walk, about as good as one another with nobody aboard. This pitch taken for a strike, 2-1 the count. So Christy Masog with a hitter's count, 2-1. Chelsea Moran on deck. And this one lined right past the feet. One of the assistant coaches, Anita Larson, got out of the way of that one. You always got to be on your toes, not just players, but personnel watching the contest here too. That's a foul ball, count even, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Masog awaits this 2-2 delivery, and a foul ball that's going to come right over towards us. But a foul ball, staying alive, Christy Masog. Just listening to the coaches for Little Falls and the chirping at the bench. Battle, stay alive. These are the types of things that high school sports, a lot of this comes down to. Masog fights off another 2-2 pitch. From the batter's perspective, not every pitch you're going to be able to really get solid contact on, but if you fight off enough pitches, the pitcher will normally make a mistake and give you an opportunity. That time, Masog just a hair behind an offering that was in the strike zone, but she fouls it off and gets another 2-2 pitch. So a 2-2 delivery upcoming to Christy Masog with Chelsea Moran on deck for the Flyers. The corners playing in a step. And this one is a liner, and it's going to stay in the infield, get fielded by the pitcher, actually. Masog flies out with a shallow fly ball to the pitcher. Swung on the contact on the bottom half of the softball, popped that one up in the air about 10 feet in the air and came right to the pitcher for the lazy fly ball out. And now there were 2 outs, and the number 3 hitter, Chelsea Moran, takes a strike at the knees. 0-1 the count. And this one, a fly ball, and this is going to bounce in foul territory on the first baseline. The shortstop, Chelsea Moran, 0 for 1 today, but she reached on her first plate appearance on a walk. Little Falls, in 5+ innings at the plate, has had 4 base runners, 3 of those with 2 outs and the other with 1. Late in each inning, another foul ball, but not able to string anything together thus far. Another 2-strike pitch upcoming to Chelsea Moran, bottom of the 6th inning. It's a slow dribbler fielded by the third baseman, and the throw to first in time, and Moran is retired. So it's a 3-up, 3-down, bottom half of the 6th inning. Little Falls will still have the heart of their order due up in the 7th, but first things first, they'll have to defend. And in the top half of the 7th inning, it will be the 9-1-2 hitters batting for St. Cloud Cathedral. Claire Ramler, Abby Metalberg, and Nicole Prom. That 9-1-2 spot, Megan Voigt and Julia Meyer would follow. Little Falls would love to find a way to keep them on the bench and avoid seeing those 2 hitters again. Julia Meyer, perhaps the hitter of the game thus far, with a couple of solid base knocks to center field. One, she was robbed of an extra base hit on a web gem by Zimmerman Cameron, coming down full speed, running in, making the catch at the knees, from her knees at her waist height. Also, though, hit a 2 RBI single with 2 outs. And that was back in the 5th inning. Baseball, Little Falls and Sartell on Thursday, and then some of the other upcoming broadcasts, including Monday the 24th. That's a week from Monday. The next opportunity, we'll have high school softball here on Flyer Media Productions, Charter Access 181, YouTube, and the Cube. My name's Corey Fink, oftentimes working at the Little Falls radio station and bringing you a few of those games throughout the course of the season too, especially later once we get to the playoffs. But happy to work and volunteer with the Little Falls High School. And most of this broadcast is being put together by students. And this is a squibber that's off the end of the bat, bounced off home plate first, so it was foul. Flyer Media Productions, a professional level broadcast put together by students, middle school and high school level in Little Falls. Swing and a miss and a strike. So Claire Ramler behind in the count. No balls, 2 strikes. Abby Metalberg on deck. Ooh, staying alive. I don't want to put any pressure on her, but how about a call here? Strikeout. We haven't seen one of those in a little bit from Christy Masog. She started off the game with 5 strikeouts, the first 10 batters she's faced. This one off the end of the bat, it's going to be fielded by the shortstop, but no play, as that one had a lot of English on it. Claire Ramler with an infield hit to lead things off here in the top of the 7th inning. That one was a flare hit, and trying to field it, Moran came charging in, could not make the catch, then had to play it on a bounce, and it rolled away from her. Now, pitch home to Metalberg, taken high and away, ball 1. So Abby Metalberg, the leadoff hitter for Cathedral, who is 1 for 2 with a walk and a run scored, squares up for a bunt, offers at it. No contact, but since she offered at it, it's a strike. 1-1 the count to Abby Metalberg. Nicole Prom on deck. Leadoff hitter is aboard for St. Cloud Cathedral. And now a bunt. This one goes foul. So a Sinai single to lead things off here in the top of the 7th inning. Little Falls now facing the top of the order for St. Cloud Cathedral. The Crusaders are 2-1. Little Falls 0-2 in this young softball season. But the Flyers playing well. A sound game by both teams. This pitch taken, called, 3rd strike. So I was a batter at too far in front, but Abby Metalberg is retired on strikes. That's the 2nd time she struck out looking. She was the last batter to strike out way back in the 3rd inning against Masog, and here Masog gets the strikeout. Now a grounder towards the first base side of second, and a bobble, and that's going to allow the runner to reach. A tough play that time for Allie Hoheisel at second, who had it stuck in her glove. And that's a tough feeling, too, because you're just trying to grab it and throw it to first and couldn't do so in time. And now there is runners at first and second. And a squibber. This one's fielded by Masog. The throw to first. And now the throw over to third, chasing a runner back as both runners advance. Now Prom is at second. Ramler is over to third. And it's a 1-4 putout. Megan Voigt is retired. Runners at second and third. Julia Meyer at the plate. Now, I don't know if you want to walk a hitter or not, but Meyer's been the best hitter for St. Cloud Cathedral. This one taken low in the dirt. And Jasmine Miller was able to retreat back to the backstop and get that one back to the pitcher, Masog, and hold the runners at second and third. But first base is open against the dangerous cleanup hitter for St. Cloud Cathedral, Julia Meyer, who's hit the ball 3 times very hard. This one is a fly ball to shallow center, but it might drop, and it does for a hit. Now 2 runs will come across to score because there were 2 outs. Prom at second base was running with contact. Ramler easily scores from third. And this time, Julia Meyer with a single, another 2 RBI single, adding to her total. She now has a run scored and 4 RBIs in this 5-0 game. St. Cloud Cathedral, that time, not the greatest hit of the ball game for her, but it found the hole. Hoheisel at second base, Zimmerman Cameron in center, and also Corbett in right, all chasing after it, but it just found that hole in between the 3 defenders, and because there were 2 outs, there was only 1 out, maybe 1 run scores, and that's it. There's no way a run scores from second if you got to hold on. Now the grounder to third, the throw over to first in time, and Decker is retired on a 5-3 ground out. So, a 2 RBI single, a walk, a couple of hits, 2 runs scored, and St. Cloud Cathedral now leads 5-0. Little Falls needs 5 to tie, 6 to win in walk-off fashion here. And coming to bat for Little Falls, Jasmine Miller, Megan Kirk, and Callie Mamengay. That'll be the order for Little Falls in this Flyer Media Production contest. Charter Access 181, the Cube. Also the YouTube channel. Several opportunities for you to watch, not just today's ball game, but several of the upcoming contests. Monday, April 24th will be the next high school softball game. We'll have a couple of baseball matchups before then, including on Thursday and next week on Tuesday. So, upcoming broadcast here on Flyer Media Productions. Corey Fink bringing you the play-by-play coverage on a nice sunny Tuesday afternoon, April 11th. Little Falls, the cleanup hitters batting now. Here comes the logo as you can see it scroll across the screen for our upcoming broadcast. Looking forward to several of these games, including that softball Albany matchup. That will be a potential playoff preview. I think both of those teams are section teams, so Little Falls and Albany matched up in the section several times in the past. As for baseball, Foley, a very good baseball team, and they gave Piers a run for their money in the opener. Foley is a potential state contender this year in Class 2A, and Little Falls coming off a 3rd place finish in Class 3A last year. I'm very excited to see what that program can do this year. Leading things off for Little Falls, Jasmine Miller. She's 0 for 2. She struck out looking and then grounded out to the 3rd baseman. Right now, Little Falls needs base runners, find a way to score a big inning and see if they can tie it up, maybe win in walk-off fashions. We're in the bottom of the 7th. This pitch taken for a strike, so the count even, 1 ball, 1 strike. Tom Hyam and Tony Veith have been the umpires and officials for this evening's contest. Swing and a miss, strike 2, 1-2 the count to Jasmine Miller with Megan Kirk on deck. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And Miller strikes out. That's the 2nd time she has struck out here in this contest. A total of 4 punch-outs. Actually, that was the 5th one, the 5th strikeout for Fisher, pitching what's been a complete game effort thus far. And Masog pitching the complete game for Little Falls. If Little Falls can get some timely hitting here throughout the course of the season, proved in this contest a very capable defensive team. And here, this is a ball taken low. Megan Kirk is the hitter. Kirk has a single, one of 3 hits today for Little Falls, but all on different innings. Flyers have had 3 singles and a walk offensively. They had a walk in the 1st, then singles in the 2nd, the 4th, and the 5th. Haven't been able to string together much. Megan Kirk, the 3rd baseman, a nice hit, but right at the 2nd baseman, 2-hopper throw over to 1st. And it's a 4-3 ground out. That means Little Falls will pin their hopes on this evening's contest. Callie Mamengay, see if they can string together a 2-out rally. Softball, baseball, I compare them both. It's a game of momentum. If you can get that first base runner and all of a sudden a couple more, you put pressure on the other team, you never know what can happen. I've seen an 8-run lead with 2 outs in an inning like this evaporate in an instant. It can happen. It's rare, but it can happen. Here, a strike taken. Mammon Gay now behind, no balls, 2 strikes, and Little Falls down to their last pitch. We'll see if Mammon Gay can put this one in play. Swing and a miss. She took a cut. And Little Falls will go down swinging for strike 3, and perhaps a bit poetic here on this evening's contest as Little Falls, well, they gave it a swinging effort. Offensively, didn't have the answers for Fisher on the mound. Defensively, played a sound game, and a very nice overall contest played between both of these teams. Congratulations to Mark Shamernick and the St. Cloud Cathedral Crusaders. He's the head coach for that program, who have improved to 3-1 after this 5-0 victory over the hosting Little Falls Flyers, who have fallen to 0-3 on this young season. They fell to St. Cloud Apollo by just a run in the season opener, and then got beat by Becker soundly in the last time out. Here, this was a close contest, blown open by a big inning there. Couple of 2 RBI singles for Julia Meyer, who is perhaps one of the players of the game. 4 RBIs and a run scored for St. Cloud Cathedral in a 5-0 low-scoring game. But if you're looking for things to build on for the Little Falls program, despite a loss here today, well, let's just recap some of the things. You've got a solid pitching performance by Christy Masog. If you throw strikes, you're going to give your team an opportunity to stay in these ball games, and once you get to the postseason, you never know what can happen. Also, besides Masog throwing the strikes, we saw some leather flashed. Savea Zimmerman Cameron, Jasmine Miller, also Chelsea Moran, all making some defensive plays at different times. And how about that catch in right field by Annie Corbett diving down? That was in about the 5th inning too. So Little Falls defensively turned in some web gems. St. Cloud Cathedral did a good job of putting the bat on the ball and forcing Little Falls defensively to make the plays, but they were up to the challenge. And considering this is an early April game, April 11th, I'd expect both of these teams, not just Little Falls, but also St. Cloud Cathedral, to continue to improve as the spring season moves along. Before Little Falls, they will be able to feel good about themselves. They couldn't string together any hits, but a total of 5 runs for St. Cloud Cathedral. A 5-0 win, St. Cloud Cathedral over Little Falls. Now, I do want to remind everyone that coming up, our upcoming broadcast will be Little Falls baseball on Thursday, and also another baseball game on Tuesday. And in fact, here comes our logo with a Flyer Media Productions upcoming broadcast. Little Falls baseball in Sartell. Tuesday is baseball versus Foley. Then a couple weeks, so a week and a half, Monday 24th against Foley, and that'll be Little Falls in Albany. That'll be high school softball here on local channel Access 181, YouTube, and the Cube channel, all bringing us some Flyer softball broadcast. But this is a very sound game we saw today, a nicely played contest between both teams. St. Cloud Cathedral advances or will improve to 3-1 on this young season. Little Falls 0-3, but if they keep playing this well, especially defensively, I got to think that they are going up some victories throughout the course of this season. Just another shout out to all our Flyer Media Production crew, our camera. And this is Corey Fink. I was happy to bring you the play-by-play coverage. It's a lot of fun, and I'm going to look forward to being able to do this a couple more times throughout the course of the season. But Little Falls and St. Cloud Cathedral with today's games. The cameras were run by Owen Kircher, Austin Moore, David Gertz, and Karen Warner helping out with this Flyer Media production. The final score is St. Cloud Cathedral 5 and Little Falls 0. Thank you for watching.